should score for Liverpool. Salah to settle it. In front of the Kop. Delicious cross. Mane! Alexander-Arnold. It's running.
From doubter to believer.
Hello everybody, welcome to the LFC Couch. We are here for a pre-Leeds pod. Me and the coach here, Peter Kofinas, have been very excited to bring you this show because it's what everyone's been waiting for. It's the Premier League is starting and Liverpool are up against Leeds United, and me and Pete are going to go through a very detailed breakdown on what we can expect from Leeds United, what they can do to us and what we can do to them. But before we do that, I just wanted to ask how you were, Pete, on this fine day in the land of the rose.
Well, I'll be very quick because I'm sure these people want to jump in and listen to the pod. So, first and foremost, I'm a little bit disturbed from an image we saw at the gym today.
Well, you don't have to go too far into it.
No, we're not. It's just a little bit disturbing. It's like Aquaman was training next to us. Secondly, I just can't wait to defend our title. Or as Klopp said, attack the next one.
That's a really great way of putting it. So as you guys will know throughout this week, especially those Sydney/New South Wales/Australian listeners, we're giving away some jerseys as part of our kit launch that happened over the weekend, a really successful event. Actually, we're getting information every day about how successful it has been. I mean, we're getting, people wanting details from other people involved at the event. Everyone's communicating with each other, and we also got told that the Vapor kits sold out in record time, Pete, and they want to work with us again.
Say that again, George. Something about records again? Do you want to say that again?
It's a record time for Ultra Football selling out of a premium kit.
Courtesy of the LFC Couch, of course.
LFC Couch did that. But one thing that is a little bit unfortunate for the person who did win on Wednesday as part of the Lucy Zelich / Corey Gamiro / Matt German pod was that we had one of our winners not come forward. Obviously, Katrina Field came forward and she got her jersey. A lovely story with her. We'll get more into that next week. So she's got her jersey. I'm not sure. What did she get? Salah or something on it?
I think it was Mane.
Oh, she's getting Mane.
Yeah.
Mane number 10. But we're going to redraw the Liberty Financial sponsored Vapor jersey with name and number right now. We're going to do that for all you guys who are listening. Because we just want to do this quickly and just get you guys straight into that pre-Leeds pod. And we're going to release 2 more winners actually in this pod. So there's going to be 3 winners you have to listen out for. First one's coming up now. Second one will be in the middle of the pod somewhere. I'm not sure yet because we're going to be listening to it now. And then the third one, perhaps somewhere near the end as we're wrapping up. So without further ado, I think we might get this random number generator.
Let's get it going.
And remember, this jersey has been sponsored by Conxanthus at Liberty Financial. You can find them online. Just search Liberty Financial, Conxanthus there. Go to Liberty Financial or libertyfinance.com.au. And they specialize in unsecured personal loans. So this means you do not need an asset up front. If you want to do debt consolidation, deposits for loans, specialized surgery, Pete, for you, home renovations, all of these things unsecured. They're not going to ask for anything off you. Usually the banks come in and say, we want your house to be put down as security. We want some form of asset. We want a deposit. We want to know that we can trust you. Not Liberty trust you unsecured. They don't need any of that stuff. So it's a really great operation they've got going on there. And they also have, if you do have a refinance of some sort or any sort of personal loan unsecured, you do get $100 cashback after settlement if you do mention this pod. So it's a pretty good deal they've got going there. And the current rates are in the low 2s. We're not allowed to say that, but I'm going to say it anyway. Current rates are in the low 2s. I wish I had low 2s, Pete.
Yeah.
Low 2s. I'm on like 3s.
I don't know what I'm on at the moment. I think I'm about mid 2s, I think.
Mid 2s, so yeah. There you go. I mean, 0.23% matters when you're talking in the tens and hundreds of thousands. But without further ado, I'm going to go. Pete's going to record this in case people are worried.
For proof.
And you got to record the screen. Just make sure they can see that.
Oh, I've got to zoom in there. Hold on, let me zoom it. I'm just zooming.
1 to 80.
Yep, go. I'm ready.
And we're going to go to our little page here. I'm going to press the generate button. Here we go. The winner is number...
No way.
Geez, 5. That's quick.
I think I know who number 5 is.
Who's number 5? Stephen Kranites. Stephen Kranites.
That's a funny one.
That's a funny one. Stephen Kranites.
That's wow.
All right, so Stephen Kronides is the lucky winner. There it is there. It's number 5. You have a personalized Nike LFC vapor kit with any name and number that you want on the back. It's a pretty decent prize, Pete.
He's another lucky winner that I'm completely jealous of, to be honest.
Absolutely.
I can predict who he's going to get on it, by the way.
Oh, yeah? Because we've seen everybody in at the store and whatever. So, we'll... who can you predict who'll get?
He'll get Firmino.
Firmino, he's a smart fellow. Well, why don't we delve into the pod? So that jersey was brought to you by Conxanthus at Liberty Finance. Again, please check them out, liberty.com.au for unsecured personal loans. But we're going to get into this pre-Leeds pod. We want you guys to listen. We've got some secret documentation stolen from Leeds United. So we did a Bielsa. It's the irony, Pete, of having this document.
We Bielsa'd him.
We Bielsa'd Bielsa. So without further ado, we're going to go to ourselves in the past, talking about the future.
We're just time jumping.
It's like Back to the Future.
But they didn't know that the couch can time jump.
Whoa, Doc, you're telling me you built a time machine out of a couch? Marty. But yeah, anyway, we're going to hear what Pete and George have to say in the past about the future. Leeds United, pre-Leeds. We'll be back sometime in the middle of the pod for the next jersey, and then the final section of the pod will release the final jersey. Not the final one, but the second last one. But enjoy.
I am unbelievably happy with the way today has gone, George.
It's gone really well. So for those of you who don't know, we've just done an event today. If you're listening to this in the future, this is a pre-Leeds pod of sorts. And for the things that have happened today, we've had Lucy Zelich, Corey Gamira come down. What a pod that one was, Pete.
Yeah, it was actually almost... there was a fight on the couch, wasn't there?
Yeah.
There was... that was interesting. I can't wait till that one gets released.
Well, they also disagree. Apparently, this was off air, but they have differing opinions on Phil Coutinho. How Corey?
Are we releasing inside information?
This is inside information now.
Oh,
I got
no.
you know who told me this one. This is young Miller told me this one.
Oh, the baby.
The baby.
16-month-old baby.
She told me. She goes, they fight about Coutinho.
What a cute little baby, by the way.
So cute. She's left her her little squeezy bottle somewhere here. So you got to give that back. But we haven't been on the pod. We've actually had Dan Garb be the guest host today, and what a job he's done. Oh my God. Thank goodness we had Dan.
He's a freak of nature. Let's be honest. He's
the gift of the gab, as they say.
Well, the way he looked after us today, the way he looked after our guests, the way he continued the conversations, the way he just conducted himself was just class, all class.
Well, I mean, now we've had a chance. Now that everything's sort of settled down, we've had a chance to sit down on the couch. We've actually got a real couch this time. It never usually happens. What are we?
We've been on a real couch.
We've been on my bed a few times. Literally, we have. Well, where else are we going to go? It's in my bedroom. Inside information, Pete. Is that too much?
We were clothed. We were clothed.
The bed was made, thank you very much.
Before we got on it. Anyway,
I got Liverpool covers as well.
Moving on.
Warrior covers. No, but what we're going to do, so the day's gone really, really well. We're sitting on the LFC couch here at Ultra Football for the event, and we're going to do a little bit of pre-Leeds for you. So one of the things that was going on today is we're giving away a bunch of prizes. There may even be some prizes going on with this pod. It may be at the beginning of the pod, middle of the pod, we don't know. But listen out if you are, if you're an LFC New South Wales member.
Correct.
But the reason that
they've got 24 hours, by the way, to make sure they hit.
24 hours. You've got to contact us within 24 hours.
Otherwise, we move on.
Otherwise, movement is happening. But what we're doing today is we're going to do a pre-Leeds pod, but we're going to be getting some help. For those in podcast land, you can't see this, but if you do want to see our video socials and whatnot, we're using the Game Changers... what we call it, real estate assets, Game Changers, magnet board, coaching equipment. Yeah. There you go, Pete. You got to save me when I don't know what to say.
I had it covered. This is it's like a coaching tool. So it's a magnetic whiteboard. So you can obviously, as you see, the magnets. The way they've designed their magnets is that you can help use that's why it's called the Game Changer, because before there was just a dot.
Yeah.
Now they're not dots anymore, right? They're actually body shape. So
they got little arms on them.
They got little arms to show. So if you want to turn a player to face this way, it actually he's facing this way, right?
Yeah.
If you want that way, it's a bit more directional. It's actually really good because I use this for my squad, my team, and visually players understand this a lot more rather than just a dot. Because you can't just spin the dot. The dot's always going to be the same. So here, when you move this around, it does show body position.
So Game Changers actually provided the jersey that went to Matt German today.
Yes, they did.
So Game Changers are a sponsor of ours today, so they've done a really good job helping us with the jerseys. So we thought we would, and it really helps us in what we want to talk about with Leeds today. So we'll get onto that. So, like we were saying, Game Changers are the sponsors, one of the sponsors for today, and they're giving away a jersey, a LFC Vapor kit. But we'll get into the pre-Leeds chat. For now, what we wanted to do was we've actually got some inside information. This is really fun. I didn't realize. None of us really realized this when we had this information. This is a Bielsa special.
We're spies.
We're spies. We have this little document in front of us. There's no paper trail because the document has it's been printed, Pete.
Just keep it there, man.
Keep it there. So there's no paper trail. We don't know how you got into. It's actually been printed upside down, just in case. In case we throw it on the floor, no one would know because it's upside down.
In case Bielsa's watching.
In case he's watching. But we've got all of their, like every way in which they defend, every way in which they attack. And it's great timing because we get to look at all of Bielsa's secret tactics and see how Liverpool might come up against a really tough defence.
And where he's most vulnerable.
And where they're most vulnerable. So what we might do for you is from this secret document, this is exclusive information, Bielsa Spy Specials. We're going to just let you know how they play, their danger players, and also how they conduct their deep block, because when Liverpool come up against it was all started, we can blame Simeone for this. Pete has often said that he's not very happy with Diego Simeone because he set the blueprint. I mean, originally before that, it was your Pulises and stuff in the Premier League setting that low block, but it's not just a low block now. It's a good team with almost five at the back.
Maybe more.
And the striker dropping in and helping out. I mean, Alvaro Morata was actually defending against Liverpool in that Champions League match.
Aubameyang, by the way.
Aubameyang as well.
Against Arsenal.
Yeah, he was back. I mean, it's like in FIFA, when you put like a striker at centre-back and it's cheating because they're the quickest ones. Literally have Aubameyang speeding around helping him defend.
It's like two centre-backs are Mbappe and Mane.
Yeah, it's the best one. I know, yeah. Just put your speediest players at the back. FIFA Ultimate Team. We're at Ultra Football at the moment, by the way, not Ultimate Football.
What a setup, by the way.
What a setup. So what we might start off with is how Leeds usually set up, Pete. And basically they use two formations, which is interesting for us. So this is when they want to play football. They use these two formations. We've got a 4-1-4-1, and this is a weird one, 3-1-3-3, which is like a 3-4-3.
Again, Bielsa's... he's known to be a bit of a weirdo, right? He's known to do weird things and experiment with formations and plays and systems. So we actually don't know. Even though we have information in front of us, I don't know how they're going to approach this match. So the 4-1-4-1 is more of a predominantly defensive kind of setup. So you do have, it could be a 4-5-1, the way, depending how you look at it, right? Like for me, formations are fluid. So there's no ever, in any match, a set formation visible because it always just changes with the game. But then you mentioned the 3-1-3-3, and it's like, well, that could also be a 3-4-3. Do you know what I mean? It's how you interpret it.
It's interesting because we also have this information about where and when he uses these formations.
Correct.
We've got specific, like he usually because he's got in his right back, he's got Luke Ayling as right back. He's actually more of a chunky right back. So when they in the middle of the game, if they're playing a 4-1-4-1, what they do is they have that chunky fullback in Ayling. They just have him come in and just fill in as the third centre-back, and then all of a sudden your right winger becomes your right wing-back, and the left-back becomes your left winger, and there's your 3-4-3. We actually saw, I don't like making a big deal of it because we're never going to see it again because Joe Gomez does not play right-back. But if you want to see an example of this happening, if you only watch Liverpool, it happened against Arsenal when we played the 4-2-3-1. Joe Gomez was our right-back. He actually filled in as the third centre-back with Fabinho and Virgil van Dijk. So if you need something visual in your head to imagine how it works, it's that. It's your right back coming in and filling in as a centre back, and then the rest of the team is all up front.
Look, going back to the way, because Bielsa, the way he defends, it's more so his transitional moments from when he first loses the ball is when he's most effective. We see that Bielsa effect, as people have to call it. It's like they press the ball. It's man-for-man marking. So he's known for his man-for-man marking and pressing the ball. So the closest player has to press the ball, and the others have to react and adjust and get to the closest player. So for a team like Liverpool, for example, the way we like to play, where it is a bit of a nice, once we've won the ball, it's a calm kind of 2, 3, 4 passes, then off we go in behind, right? If we can somehow beat that press and get the ball moving before the closest player is close enough to close us down, I think, as disciplined as they may be, I think that's where we can hurt them as well.
It's like a little window in which it can happen. It reminds me of like playing like a Super Mario
It's like
game.
a 5-second window, it is.
You got to like knock the head of Bowser 3 times.
Yeah.
If you don't get that window, then you got to start the level again.
But he is known for his man-for-man marking kind of approach.
There are danger players in this side. They've got a nifty winger on the wing, Costa. They've also got Pablo Hernandez. For me, from every time that I've watched Leeds in the last few seasons, he's been their star player. In the last 5 games, from what we've got from this particular document, he was coming off the bench, it seems. He's wearing number 19, I think. This document's full of numbers. And also, obviously, their striker, 16 goals. Their number 9.
I've gone blank. What's his name again? Kevin.
We've got him here. But they're usually getting goals through their number 9. And actually, what we've read in the document as well is they like a lot of balls.
Well, that's the thing, right? So
that's how they transition.
When they defend deep, and the first outlet pass is their pass to the 9. Okay, so when it does go to the 9, they're looking at getting players around the 9 to support the ball.
Patrick Bamford is that number 9.
Bamford, that's right. So they're looking at getting the ball to Bamford as quickly as possible and then getting bodies around Bamford to progress up the pitch. Or they're known for, so if they win the ball, it's either going to go direct to him. They like to get the ball wide to one of the wider players. It could be a fullback, could be a wider player, then in behind into where the centre-back spaces are, in between the fullbacks, where he likes to make his diagonal runs in behind there. Then players from the opposite side of the pitch come across and join. But basically, they do threaten all their counter-attacks basically go through Bamford at 9.
All right, we're back in the present here. We've gotten into our DeLorean couch. We're back in the future here with Doc Brown, and we're about to announce another prize here, another LFC Nike Vapor Kit, personalised with any name and number that you want. If you're an LFC New South Wales member, you get the chance to win a jersey. This is jersey number 5. This is somewhere in the middle of the pod. Hope you're enjoying the pre-leads chat.
They are pretty good, those two talking at the moment.
Those two chat. They're actually not too bad. That Pete and George, they're pretty good.
Pretty good. I don't know how they get that information that they've gotten. I don't know how they do it, to be honest with you, but they're pretty good.
But Pete, we've got to be careful. Once we get on the couch, we go back and listen to them. We can't run into them because then there could be a skew in the space-time continuum.
Well, we don't want to change the future.
No, we don't want to change the future. Unless we don't beat Leeds, then we should go back and, I don't know.
We'll beat them again?
We'll beat them again. Actually, there you go. We'll just beat them twice. Get 6 points. Done. But this jersey is brought to you by LFC New South Wales.
Correct.
So they are also sponsoring a jersey despite all the great stuff they did on the day. They're also giving you the chance to win another jersey. And LFC New South Wales were great on the day. They were signing up members. They actually ran out of their membership packs.
Packages, yeah, that's right.
And they also had a great This Means More, the hashtag This Means More charity that was on at the day for food banks. And they raised a lot of money both before the event, during the event.
But not just money, there was actually a lot of food deliveries as well, George. A lot of people brought in a lot of food that can get delivered and support the food banks. And
we all know, Pete, there is another little piece of information about LFC New South Wales, I think.
Something happened in 2018. I can't remember.
I think they were voted the best OLSC, the best official Liverpool supporters club in the world.
So wait, you mean like the entire world?
On the planet, like the human race. Like
was that the event that Sadio Mane presented them the trophy?
I think it was. Sadio Mane presented LFC New South Wales with their trophy. And if you go on the website, you can actually see a little icon. It says 2018 Best Supporters Club. Wow, what an achievement. The best supporters in the world come from here, New South Wales.
Now I remember.
We've been voted, so it's
official. It's there. It's in history books.
It's in the history books. So let's announce this jersey prize.
Just let me record you do this, George, for evidence sake.
All right, you go on here. What I've done is I've put it down to 1 again.
Yep.
For the random number generator, I put in the number of 80.
Yep.
Put it just there.
I've got it all here.
And I'm going to press the generate button. We're going to see who wins. Then I've got to go to the list to see whose number that is. We're going to press generate number 28.
28.
Danny Ings.
Was that Gerard's first ever number, wasn't it?
It was Gerard's first ever number. It's probably because 18 was taken. He was like, just give me an 8, bro. I need the number 8. But here we go, number 28. Who does it belong to? 28, the lucky winner is Ernie Bivona.
There you go.
Ernie Bivona. Ernie Bivona, you are the lucky winner of LFC New South Wales's sponsored jersey a vapor kit with any name and number that you want. Ernie Bavona.
Ernie, can I take a guess at who you're getting at the back? I don't know why. I feel like guessing people's. I tried to guess Stevens before. I want to guess Ernie's now.
Okay, what is he getting?
Van Dijk.
Ernie, let us know. Firstly, let us know that you've won your jersey, and secondly, let us know what size and name and number that you want. Well, that was the second jersey. Thank you, LFC New South Wales, and we'll be back sometime towards the end of the pod to announce the sixth winner. So that was number 5. Number 4 was done at the beginning. That was Liberty. Number 5 was done for LFC New South Wales. And then we've got Pharmacy Mart coming up. So keep listening to Pre-Leads. Enjoy our past selves. Don't tell them that we're listening to them, that we're watching them, because there could be a skew in the space-time continuum.
So, how do you beat Liverpool? How are we going to stop Liverpool? The answer has been in the last 6 months, and thank you, Diego Simeone. Let's defend the hell. Let's low block. No, it's not even low block. Let's defend with everybody.
It's don't turn up.
Don't turn up. I'm not trying to win.
No, that's exactly what it is. It's an approach where, like, look, we're going to go to Liverpool and we're going to do everything we can to not lose. And if we get a point out of it, excellent.
What we used to see, Pete, I want to just know very quickly before we go on to how Leeds do their low block, because basically that's what we wanted to get to. How do Leeds approach their low block? Because that's what we're going to be coming up against. But what's the difference between the low block that we've seen in the past and what Diego Simeone introduced? One of the key differences, what you mentioned before, was the strikers are now coming in and helping out defend. We saw that with Morata, and we saw that also with Aubameyang against Arsenal. But what are the other features of this low block that's different to the ones that we saw against Pulis, for example, and Allardyce?
From what we've seen, it's actually on our Game Changers board now. We've
got the Game Changers board in front of us.
We've set this up as to where Bielsa sets up a block from a wider area. So, the numbers aren't correct, but Trent Alexander-Arnold is over here on the ball, right? As you can see, they've got 5 players protecting the box. So that's a 5v4 situation there. So we've got... They also get the 5 outside the edge of the box, and then they get 3 here. So there's a man mark, and a man mark, as you mentioned earlier. Right? So there's a free play in the box defensively. So this free play is zonal, or if there's someone going to make a third man run in between the spaces, the other guy gets free for whatever it's going to be, right? So there is 5 protecting the edge of the box with 3 going around the ball, pressing the ball, getting nice and close. To
three around the ball, 5 right outside the box.
Correct. And then
that's scary, Pete.
Well, they've also got they've got Bamford on his own for that reason. So if they do manage to pinch it, it goes straight there. So that's
their transition.
Where he's in between the 2 centre backs there to try to keep them both occupied. That way, if one or two or both commit, we can obviously break down through the opposite side through Costa, who's out there on that wing there.
As we've set up this, so we're going to do the low block in 2 ways. For those of you enjoying on the video, you can see this is the wide. So they call it the low block wide / box protection, and then we're going to go through the block with a central protection, but this is the wide one. One thing that you can see here is, obviously the number 9 can also come back, but what we've inadvertently also showed to you is how they're going to transition, and the 2 ways in which Leeds, according to this document that we're reading, the Bielsa Spy Special, how they transition is they either get the ball into Bamford, but they actually like playing, even though he's not a speedster, they play over the top. They just try and get Bamford 1v1 or 1v2 with the 2 centre backs. But if they manage to do that, the first ball that you just said that does happen is it's probably your Costa on the wing. So they try and go striker wing.
Well, if you have a look at the board again, where are the least amount of numbers? It's on the opposite side from where the ball is. So this is why if it does, if they do, like again, I'll show you again. If they end up pinching it anywhere in here and it does hit Bamford straight away, well, you're not going to go back out that way because
he's not going back left. If the ball was one left from Trent, it's not going back left.
Well, no, because that's where the bodies are.
Yep.
So you're trying to go away from the bodies, which clearly are going to be on the opposite weak side, where this fullback might decide to bomb on and help. The winger can get forward and help, and all of a sudden it become maybe a 3v2 situation here on the other side.
And a lot of the goals they scored off counters. That's what it says in this booklet as well. The goals have come from a wide player. Let's just call him Costa on the right wing, or whatever the winger is on the opposite side, bombing on, and it's either gone to the striker or it's gone straight to that, which is a way in which Klopp likes to counter as well.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The styles between the 2 managers is actually going to be interesting to watch because they're similar in different ways. They're both very big on pressing, and they're both very big on countering. So I hope he also comes to press and play. But I don't think he will.
So we mentioned that there's two ways in which they can low block against us, and Pete, you're just about to rearrange the game changes for us to the way in which they protect with the central block. So we can actually, before we do that, there's a way in which, because if we're doing a wide block, the idea is that Liverpool will be lining up with a 4-3-3. If you notice a game against Arsenal low blocked against us, and the whole game, majority of it, we were 4-3-3. And when we play 4-3-3, we're usually trying to funnel the ball out to our wing. And even in this document, they actually, when they're doing their wide protection with the block, you can see the ball is with the number 2. It's like this document was written in July. It's like they've planned it for us to use it, Pete. But the main thing there is that if Liverpool are wide, the way in which you can break it down is from, look at this, an early cross from your right back.
Well, statistically speaking, Leeds United have actually conceded the most goals from a deeper position, crossing position.
From this, and the player with the ball in their little document is the number 2, which is any fullback. And I tell you what, if there's a fullback in world football that you don't want to have the ball in that place,
it's Trent.
Is Trent Alexander-Arnold.
And Leeds have also conceded the most chances in between the areas between of the penalty spot and the 6-yard box.
And that's even with this low block. It's actually it's a weakness that they've got, is that they concede chances.
Well, they protect it here nice and high towards the edge of the 18-yard box is because they allow the keeper to come out and receive if there's anything going in behind. So actually gives space for the keeper to run and attack the ball, which also, by the way, if he does do that and catch the ball, where's his first pass going to go? So
Number 9.
So it's a proactive way to get the ball moving as quickly as possible. So that's actually, to be fair, I like the way they've done that. I think that's a good idea because if you're asking people to cross the ball from deeper regions, you are more than likely going to have more success defending them. Mm-hmm. But the problem for him at the moment is Alexander-Arnold.
Yeah.
And
so if he's playing, it's a problem for him.
Huge, because no one can deliver a ball like Alexander-Arnold. And if they have conceded the most chances on goal from an opposition's right side in between the 6-yard and the penalty spot, then Alexander-Arnold should have a field day.
So if we're lining up 4-3-3, we're playing wide, and Leeds United are doing this wide low block, the way in which we can find some joy against them, Liverpool, the way in which they can find some joy is a near post low cross from around, what are we calling this, midway through the half. So it's an early cross from Alexander-Arnold.
A deep cross.
A deep cross, a deep swinging cross from Alexander-Arnold. So we're hoping to see maybe a Salah, a Firmino or a Mane, or even like if Wijnaldum's playing, maybe a late run from midfield at the near post.
Or to show
so if this goal happens, Pete, you and me, I'll tell you what.
Or to show you, look, I'll show you another feature on the game changer board. It's actually, you can draw on it. It's a whiteboard.
Ooh, it is a whiteboard.
So the cross you're asking is that if he does continue to run a little bit there, is just that low in between that area there.
And Leeds United concede most of their opportunities from the near post.
From this region inside the box there.
Yep.
So, and by the way, it does rub off, if it's a whiteboard marker, that is.
Oh, beautiful.
No, but it's that's where we're asking for the balls to be delivered if we have that situation. But then again, he might do what everyone else has done and double up those wide areas. So all of a sudden, Salah has 2 players on him, so does Trent. So again, this is all prediction from us. This is us assuming it's going to be this way, but we don't know.
So, Pete, we're on the final jersey reveal of the day. This is somewhere towards the end of the podcast.
I'm a little bit nervous.
We need to get this random number generator going. But before we do that, we need to tell you who this jersey is brought to you by. And it is brought to you by the fine people at Pharmacy Mart.
In Fairfield.
Fine people at Pharmacy Mart in Fairfield.
But they also have a second location in Gregory Hills.
They do have a second location in Gregory Hills. You can go to pharmacymart.com.au or you can find them on Facebook. You can get all your pharmacy needs there. You can get vitamins. It's a lot of great stuff there and 2 great locations there. But there's something important that you guys need to know about these sponsors. They've been supporting the LFC Couch since almost day one. They've been one of our greatest and most passionate supporters. But get this, you walk into a Pharmacy Mart, you find yourself in, what were the 2 locations? Fairfield and
Gregory Hills.
You find yourself anywhere there. You walk in and you say Liverpool, quote, Liverpool are the greatest team in the world. You instantly get 20% off all front of counter and back of counter items.
Well, I might head out after this.
We need vitamins, but we need like hand sanitizer. They probably have hand sanitizer.
Well, vitamins for me first, and then maybe hand sanitizer next.
Because we were at the gym and they didn't have enough hand sanitizer there, so I need to go get some. So 20% off, that sounds good. I'm going to get bulk. Because I'm going to the States soon, Pete. It's on fire. It's got 200,000 deaths. I'm going to need my hand sanitizer. I'll get vitamins as well, actually.
Well, hopefully the hand sanitizer saves you, George.
Oh my God, I'm going to buy half the store. But anyway, without much further ado, we're going to release the Pharmacy Mart sponsored LFC.
Before you do, just let me get the camera out to record.
Get the camera out, recording. You just want to record me, Pete.
Take your shirt off.
This is the Pharmacy Mart sponsored LFC Nike Vapor Kit, personalized to whatever player size that you want. We've got the generator on 1, just because it's the way to start it up. And then you press the number 80 and you press this magic generate button. And
the winner is?
The winner is number
Roberto
9.
Firmino.
Bobby Firmino, number 9. And I'm going to show you now who is actually number 9. Do you want to see?
Yeah, you can go.
Here. Number 9 is Catherine Cranston. Catherine Cranston.
Congratulations, Catherine.
Catherine Cranston. Relation to Bryan Cranston? I don't know. Potentially from Breaking Bad. Probably not. But Catherine, you are the proud owner of a LFC Nike Vapor Kit valued at $200 with any name and number that you want and any size that you want. So please, for all these winners, make sure you do contact us and tell us that you've won so that we can give you these jerseys, because we've already had one person not claim their prize, but we've had 3 jersey reveals today. We've had the Liberty sponsored jersey by Conxanthus at Liberty Finance. We've had LFC New South Wales' jersey be released, and now Pharmacy Mart. So if you guys want these jerseys, please let us know.
You have 24 hours.
You have 24 hours.
We're very strict on that. You have 24 hours.
Jack Bauer, 24. I don't know. It's too many voices. Anyway, back to the podcast.
So if they start doubling up on wide areas, that's often an indication maybe for the manager to change something. What we saw against Arsenal was Jurgen Klopp ended up going to a 4-2-3-1. Correct. And what happened... I mean, we can see it with the goal. Mohamed Salah actually ends up being somewhat of a pseudo striker. Yep. And it's then Firmino in behind Salah with Minamino left and Mane right. Yep. It's the 4-2-3-1 that you and me really have been asking for a long time. Yeah. And we've finally got a little bit of a Fab 4 at the front again if we've got Minamino working with them. But what we saw was Salah received the ball back to goal. He went on a little bit of a dance run. I don't know where he was going, but he ended up in the box somehow, and Minamino just picked up the pieces. That was very central. Everything there was concentrated in the centre. So if Liverpool start getting doubled up on the wings, maybe Klopp goes to a central sort of formation.
Well, for me, if they're doubling up on the wings, then clearly there's a player not in the middle somewhere.
So that's why the opposition team, i.e. Klopp, needs to will have to change their mindset to go central. Yeah,
but to go central, you're going to need players that can affect the game centrally. And if you're going to base it off the starting midfield of the Charity Shield, then there's not a single player there that can affect the ball going in behind through third-man runs, right? So we just gave it away there in a way where it's just like we need to have midfielders that running in behind and past our strikers, in behind their defence, to drag and cause some confusion.
What happens with Minamino when he is on the left there, though? He's an attacking midfielder playing in the front 3. So you've got a front 3 plus Minamino. So it's kind of like this free play that gets to do whatever he wants. So he could, inadvertently become sort of a third-man run because we didn't know where he was. He was a third-man run because in that instance, he's the one... Does he not play it to Salah?
Yeah, he does.
He plays it into Salah. Salah goes on some weird run, and then he ends up on the wing, and then the ball drops to Minamino. So it was, in essence, it's not a midfielder third run the way that maybe that you would like, but it's a ghosting run of some sort. And when we start now going into the Game Changers board and having a look at how Leeds defend a second way, if Liverpool are going to start going central, that means Leeds have to change their approach to block centrally.
Well, look, when you defend man-for-man marking, there has to be a form of, passing on. So you're passing on a player. And when you're passing on players, there's that split moment, there's that small window of confusion. There's that small window of, no, he's your player. No, he's your player. And all of a sudden it's, no, he's no one's player and now he's free. So if they are going to do man-for-man marking and they are going to pass the players on, then Liverpool should expose that by getting deep runs in from midfield.
So we're going to change the board now because we've given it away. We want to go to the low block through a central. So we did low block through wide, how Leeds are going to, and Pete's just going to change it around for us to see what happens when there is a low block through central. But Leeds could go to this if Liverpool start, finding other ways to get through. If it starts getting a bit desperate around 60, 70-minute mark, Jurgen Klopp doing a bit of a Rafa Benitez and changing things up with subs. We can see the board set up here in...
It doesn't change much, though.
Doesn't change much.
Because the only thing is, instead of bringing him out here.
So the winger, instead of him being out wide, or the
No, he actually just drops in there.
So one of the midfielders starts coming inside instead of marking wide.
So now all of a sudden you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 instead of the 5 from the wider position. Now you've got 6 centrally blocking the 18-yard box entry point, whatever you want to call it.
So there's one player sacrificed that instead of man marking, they actually just come in and mark the space in the centre and almost cutting off. It's like all the midfielders contract
Well,
like an accordion.
space.
It's like my accordion analogy.
Yeah.
They come in,
Open up
contract,
and close.
Yeah.
And that's
Like
what
an
they're doing now.
octopus freely frolicking in the water, Pete.
But he still keeps a player close here for that press, and he still keeps the players man-for-man marking the ones that can get the ball potentially. Because at the end of the day, he wants to try and snap off a pass and then directly go.
So Bielsa in this document, he can low block wide, he can low block central. Liverpool, if they're going to try and get past the wide block, they're going to go through Trent Alexander-Arnold, try and go out the wings. However, if we don't find any of the we don't find any joy on the wings, we're going to have to go centrally. If we go 4-2-3-1, we're either getting a third man run for midfield, or we're going to get maybe Minamino coming through, and that's the way in which we can break down if it is central.
Well, for me, you got to look at players like Firmino. He's like the pinnacle of confusion. He's the main man, right? So if he is the one that comes into these little areas and drags players with him, because it is man-for-man marking, remember. Now, have a look at this little area out here.
So there's a spot. So Firmino leaves the box, and then his centre-back follows him, and there's a big gap just outside the box.
And this is where someone does have to make this kind of run there.
That's Naby Keita, mate. That's number 8.
It's that kind of run is the key run there. And look, we all know Fabinho can play that kind of pass, but it doesn't have to be from deep, right? Because we can move the ball a bit closer where he actually can come out and receive, draw the player, then your Salah can roll in, draw the player, and then this is where he makes that run.
Naby Keita making that third man run.
So when Firmino comes and brings that player in, it is through close combination, and we play that ball in behind there.
So Firmino leaves the space, and then one of your midfielders, or even a Minamino, if he is doing that much roaming, can take that position. And actually, we saw that. We actually saw Firmino vacating the space. Salah is the one that receives the ball, and then Minamino finds his way in the box somehow.
And for me, that's the key. The key is, and no disrespect to any other player, but I think Naby Keita has to start because, judging as to who's fit and who's available, he's probably the only one that can provide that kind of threat from our midfield. I'd love to see Wijnaldum do it, to be honest with you, but he'll be the guy who'll be out here keeping tempo, keeping pace.
Final thing is now that we've seen how they can low block against us, I did want to see ways in which Leeds can hurt us. They're going to hurt us on the counter. Is there something that Liverpool can do? Because Liverpool do seem to be, we concede 1 out of 1 chances, 1 out of 2 chances. Is there any way for us to, would we have to worry about Leeds too much that we have to sort of alter our game? Or is it just a better press than what we did against Arsenal?
I think when we're up here, I don't think we have to worry too much about conceding from a counter. I think we've got too much pace, too much strength at the back. I think where we should be concerned is that if we start to play out a little bit too much, they actually have a really good press that's organised on pressing the ball back to the goalkeeper. So when the ball goes back to Alisson, they've got a set way that they actually press the keeper as well. So the player will leave the player marking the centre-back and press the keeper. So they've actually got, well, statistically speaking, they win a lot of ball off in this area here, just off their press off a goal kick. They don't really build up their way there. But when there's a goal kick, funnily enough, they end up here quite often. So that, for me, if you're asking how can they hurt us, for me is that actually through our own casualness, if you want to call it, our own complacency in our build-up. It
actually sounds like the perfect blueprint for a lower team to beat Liverpool. It's a random press that seemingly comes out of nowhere, although we know that they're known for it, and it's a low block. It's pressing what who we saw do this against us a few years ago after we got that good result against Tottenham. It was Burnley. Remember that 2-0 loss? Remember they won the ball. That was Mignolet.
Did it this season against us in that 3-0 loss.
Watford did it as well. So it's that blueprint of press high the first 15, 20 minutes, and if you can get a goal in the first 15, 20, then all the better for you. But if you don't, just it's literally pack up shop within the first 15, 20 and just try and play for the conceding no goals.
And I agree with you there, 100%.
Now that we do know how ways in which Liverpool can hurt Leeds, we've talked about fullbacks, we've talked about third man runs, we've talked about front three options with Minamino and Firmino. We'll come up to how we expect Liverpool to set up. Klopp usually goes 4-3-3 in these situations. It's his favoured formation, although you and me are fans of the 4-2-3-1. If he starts 4-3-3, if we need to see Trent on the field, and if not,
But is Trent ready?
is he ready? I mean, that's the thing.
He's training with the England team right now, and God knows why.
Why?
But it's one of those things that if Trent...
Tsimikas went off and caught COVID.
Yeah, apparently he's called COVID. Well, he's just doing a Greek. He just can't be bothered playing. Which is, by the way, something very common. But, no, look, even if it is Neco Williams, I don't...
See, Neco doesn't do that early ball. He likes getting to the byline because he's quicker.
he doesn't, but I still don't think it's not an excuse to not beat Leeds game one.
Yeah. So if we do set up would you prefer us to set up 4-3-3 and change to that?
Correct.
And then if it's not working, then we can sort of try something new with the 4-2-3-1 in the middle of the game.
Because Bielsa will be preparing for the 4-3-3.
Yeah.
So let them have it. Let them have the 4-3-3, and then if it's time to change, you haven't succeeded, we change.
What's your midfield?
Fabinho, Keita, Wijnaldum.
So we need Keita starting. We need that, and I think it's good because I mean Milner did start that Community Shield game, but it was a friendly.
And, hopefully, he doesn't start.
Yeah, I think it was just to sort of see what was going on.
Yeah.
I think he's good to bring on to sort of calm games down.
Gini, Fabinho, Keita.
If we go 4-2-3-1, whether it's at the start of the game or in the middle of the game, how do you expect us to line up if that situation happens?
Well, I expect Firmino to be behind one of the strikers.
Yeah,
and
so
hopefully it is Salah.
Yeah.
I would love to see Minamino Mane again. I'd love to see those four again. And behind those two, you're going to need protection. So I'd love to see someone who will run in Naby Keita. But ideally, I'd love to have Wijnaldum and Fabinho protecting the four behind them, in front of them, I should say.
And it's Minamino who comes on there.
Yeah.
In that instance,
So
he probably
Minamino
comes
will
on for
become-
Gini or something,
Or for Keita.
or he can even come on for our fullback, and Fabinho drops back. Gomez
not.
goes wide, and then we see that same thing happen maybe with that.
I really don't want to see Fabinho drop as a centre-back. I think because the way he picks up so much ball in the middle of the park and his passing range, we need Fabinho centrally. I'd love to see, for example, Keita come off, Wijnaldum, Fabinho protect in between the back four and the front four. And it's almost like a 4-2-4 with a bit of freedom at the front.
Final thing, predictions for the game. What do we think is going to happen?
2-0 win.
2-0 win. So I'm happy with that. I was going to go 3-0.
Yeah.
It's funny because everyone's so worried about what's going to happen and then end up 3-4-0 victors. It is at Anfield, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. But it will be
there's
close.
no
It'll be
atmosphere.
It'll be a tight, ugly game.
But we can do something. We can put some water on the grass, or we can do something.
Space Jam juice.
Space Jam juice. It's Michael special stuff. So we got 3-0 from George, 2-0 from Pete. So hopefully Liverpool are victors in that game. Hopefully you've enjoyed this inside scoop, the spy edition, the Bielsa spy specials. I can't believe it's funny that guy spies on everyone, and we're spying on him right now with this weird document.
The couch knows all.
Couch knows all. Anyway, we're here at Ultra Football with this incredible event. Hopefully you guys have enjoyed this inside goss that we've got. And we've got some great content coming out, some awesome interviews. Whether you've heard it before this pod or you've heard it after, please give all the shows a listen. This week is a great week for the couch. We've been the Adonai here, Peter the Coach Kafinas, I've been George, and we will see all of you guys next time.
Thank you.
Demanded that he should score for Liverpool. Salah to settle it. In front of the Kop. Delicious cross. Mane! Alexander-Arnold. It's thrown in.
From doubter to believer.